deal with airplane peanuts?
The final round of voting for the 2022 Podcast March Madness Tournament ended yesterday. If you're already a subscriber, welcome back to Joke WRLD. But if you're new here, today's video will be recapping the results of our Comedy Podcast March Madness Tournament. Start off with over 25 different comedy shows. Then every weekend in March, you guys voted to see who would move on through the bracket. Now, it just so happened that the finals turned out to be the #1 overall seed, Joe Rogan Experience, going up against Tom Segura, Christina P, and Your Mom's House. Before we get into the results, though, it should just be said that some of the greatest podcast content of all time, especially my personal favorites, have been when these two guys have gotten on each other's shows. I know some of the best JRE episodes and moments happen with Tom on the show and some of their other friends like the Sober October crew. And the highest viewed Your Mom's House episode of all time was episode number 397 when they had Joe on.
Would you ever date your mom?
Definitely not. First of all, she's older than me.
Yeah.
Second of all, she's my mom.
Well,
why? I'm your mom and you're my son, and I am falling in love with him. He said, are you really? I said, yes, I am. He said, you know what? I was scared to let you know, too. I am, too.
We're both consenting adults. If it comes down to it, you know, it's just like the gays. They're you know, as long as they're over 18, everything's fine.
you know what I mean?
The U.S. wants to jail them for 18 months. Well, that'll fix it.
They got arrested. They actually got arrested.
Oh, well, they should definitely arrest them. Who gives a fuck if you want to fuck your mom?
That's our point.
That's true.
Who cares?
I don't care. I don't
either.
care at all.
But I think it's that he wants to marry his mom. There comes the
God.
legality.
Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
She's got a tattoo on her face.
Yeah.
I say go for it.
Look, once you have a baby too, your tits get mushy. That's it. That's just, it's nature. So what should I do? Should I hoist them up? Should I have them reduced?
Don't talk about it, first of all.
Yeah.
Keep that shit to yourself, or no women are going to have kids, and our population's going to die off.
She's got dogs, like 3 or 4 dogs in the yard barking, and these coyotes don't give a fuck.
Did you see that video where the pack came into her house or into her yard?
Yeah.
There's like 6 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that neighborhood.
They're sketchy. I told her to get a subsonic 22 and just start taking them out. Pop.
She won't. She
It's like
wouldn't
this.
even
Pop, pop,
put him down.
pop, pop. Put a little bait out there.
Does this?
Wait in
what's
your
like
window.
the city rules about taking out a coyote?
The city rules, you keep your fucking mouth shut.
Yeah, and just kill that coyote.
Shoot, shovel, and shut up. What is it about farts that are so hilarious?
It's the best. They're never not funny. They're never not entertaining. Because they're so taboo. You're never supposed to do them in front of strangers. The smell, the sound, everything's
Everything
phenomenal.
about it
They're
is
sublime.
And there's
sublime.
the people that love them versus don't like it. I think that's all rooted in if your household was okay with farts or not.
It's
you know?
class, and we had none growing up, so that's why we're Euro trash. So we loved farts and poopy talks.
Was farts okay? Was it talked about in your house? Was it?
No.
No. By the
Speaking
way,
of good, look how thin you are.
Thank you,
healthy
buddy.
bastard.
I've been working at it.
Thinner than Bert still, I think.
Oh, your Bert went right back.
Did you see how, I mean, like, we had, I want to show you this. This is like, people would call in or like send in videos saying Bert is fat in different languages.
Oh my gosh.
no, I didn't
it
see
was
that.
amazing.
Why is Bert Chrysler so fat?
Bert Rauer.
Kurwa, dlaczego Bert Chrysler jest taki gruby?
Bert Kreischer, you are a fat cunt. You're a fatter cunt than Tom Segura, mate.
And then this was my
International's
favorite
the
thing.
best.
This was amazing. People that listen to the podcast that teach English as a second language would use the whole fat battle to teach English abroad in different countries. So this is in India and Japan.
He's fat.
You have a
my God.
problem. You have a
It's in India.
Art Chrysler. And you are fatter than Tom.
Oh my God.
Doesn't go to the gym.
Either he gets a little bit of kibble and some elk meat, or give him ground elk meat or some other kind of meat.
Marshall's spoiled. He eats well.
He eats well.
That's awesome, dude.
He's a happy dog.
Yeah. I think everyone loves Marshall.
Have you met him?
Yeah, met him.
Yeah, you met him here, right?
A couple times, yeah.
He's the sweetest dog in the world.
Yeah, adorable.
Like, I didn't even know that dogs were like that.
Yeah, no, it's a special dog.
It's golden retrievers, man.
They're smart, too.
They're real smart.
I have a fucking box of sand as a dog, but she's adorable. She's sweet, but she's dumber than shit.
What is she?
Brussels Griffon.
Well, I don't even know what that is.
Looks like an Ewok.
Oh, I do know
know?
what that is.
Flat
Okay.
face and-
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's an odd choice. Is that your wife's choice?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Broads. They
Yeah.
get you.
Yeah,
Get you
yeah.
with the dog choice.
Oh yeah, dude. That's
They
I mean,
like
it's a,
those
it's a
little dogs.
sweet little dog, but
They basically want a baby that they don't care too much if it dies.
that's a good way of putting it. I think she'd be pretty sad if this one died. But
Yeah, she'd
Yeah.
be pretty sad, but
Pretty
not
sad.
like baby sad.
no, fuck no.
With no further ado, let's find out who won this thing. So the poll was live for 24 hours and had almost 10,000 people vote on it, and the percentages ended up being 66 to 34, with the Joe Rogan Experience winning. Congrats, Joe. Congrats, young Jamie. Congrats, everyone who voted for the Joe Rogan Experience. You are the winner of the first ever March Madness Comedy Podcast Tournament.
Have a little of this, then we'll spark up a doob.
There it is.
Get the party started. Cheers,
Cheers, my
sir.
brother.
Thanks
Congrats
for being
on
here,
October, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
I enjoy clips of JRE, but Your Mom's House, along with a few others, I queue up straight away to enjoy the full episode. Absolutely hilarious. Obviously, that's a big downfall of current Joe Rogan, is that you don't get full episodes on YouTube anymore, and you do with YMH. So that's a big advantage that they have there. But I do like to queue up a straight episode of Joe Rogan if I'm on a long drive or something, because it can be interesting, even if he doesn't have a comedian on that week. When you think of podcasts, who's the first person you think of? Rogan's winning the whole thing. That's also what I'm saying. It is kind of deserved that he might win the first overall podcast tournament, because he did, in a way, invent the comedians having podcast game. I know Mark Maron had one early, but when you think of comedians and making podcasts, they all say they're inspired by Rogan. They've all been on Rogan. We think of Joe. I really like that comment. Best all-around podcast, JRE. Best comedy podcast, YMH. JRE is the best jack of all trades. YMH is definitely the better comedy podcast. A lot of people saying this, and I completely agree with that. You know, Your Mom's House is intentionally funny every single time, and Joe Rogan is occasionally funny, especially when he has comedians as guests on. But there are still some diamonds in the rough there. Like the Post Malone episode, that interview is hilarious, and he's not a comedian. Or the Alex Jones episodes are some of the funniest ones ever. And they're hard to see now because they're censored, but those are hilarious, and Alex Jones isn't a comedian. So sometimes when he doesn't have comics on, it still can be worth watching. But I definitely get what you mean. I'll watch a full episode of Jerry when it's a suit of comedians, like the episodes of Gillis, Norman, and Shafir. With YMH, I can watch just the main mommies for hours on end and not notice there being no guests. That's a huge advantage that Your Mom's House has, too, is that they have two hosts that are both comedians. So you can just have them talk to each other, and it's going to be just as good as Joe having a comedic guest on, too, because those are just two comedians that have some of the best rapport, obviously. I mean, they're married, so you know, you could, just listen to them talk to each other for hours. There's a ton of people that love to say Joe Rogan's not a comedy podcast, but to me, I think a comedy podcast is a podcast that's hosted by a comedian, not necessarily a podcast that is intending to be funny every episode, because when Joe has on comedians, it's obviously a great time, just like when he has Tom on and stuff. But when he has on, other people, there can still be funny moments. It's just not maybe as intentional as YMH. All the real mommies know the real winner here. Jerry is dope, but sometimes Joe's jeans are low and loose, and Tim and Christine's are always high and tight. They never touch my camera through the fence. I just sit back, take 10 to 12 Benadryl, and finish in 4 strokes. Amen, jeans. That's the most YMH comment of all time. Had to throw that in there.
At the Cleveland Improv once, like I was grinding through a rough set, and this guy in the third row goes, he goes, "This guy's terrible, man." Like that, like fully loud, like, "This guy's terrible." And I was like, "What's up, man?" And then some lady in the back goes, "Your mama should have swallowed that nut." Like,
God
meaning
damn.
like,
This is in Cleveland?
yeah, at the Cleveland Improv.
Wow.
And I was like, "Damn."
Yeah.
I go, "Your dad should have stuck around to raise you." And then, and then like I got out of there pretty quick.
There were over 100 comments, and the main theme seemed to be that Your Mom's House is clearly the better comedy podcast, and Joe Rogan is clearly the most legendary podcast of all time, and maybe the most important, but not the funniest. Your Mom's House is clearly the best comedy podcast. Jerry is only funny when there are other comics on. This guy said, "Still can't believe Tim Dillon didn't get enough votes." I think we all know Tim Dillon is the real winner here. So besides the Tim Dillon fans, I can't believe that he was voted out 2 rounds ago. The Joe Rogan Experience takes the first ever win of the Comedy Podcast March Madness Tournament. But thank you to everyone who participated in this. We had over 60,000 people vote between all the rounds combined. So that's some really cool fan interaction there. Make sure you subscribe to Joke WRLD if you haven't already, and go check out our community section for even more polls and fun questions related to comedy. Posting stuff on there all the time. And also go follow us on Instagram. We're featuring a new comedian every single day. They send in their best 60-second stand-up clip clip, and we're putting them on a platform to get exposed. Also, if you DM the Instagram, you get these free Joke WRLD stickers, and they're really cool. And everyone who doesn't have a Joke WRLD sticker, that's very embarrassing and kind of lame, and like I would not show my face in public without one of these stickers, so I hope that you don't either. But thanks for watching. We'll be back soon.
Gear yourselves up, ladies and gentlemen. 11 months from now, join on in.